welcome to Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Tucker.
And it's Monday again, folks. Welcome back.
It's exciting. There's always another one.
I've found that the better my weekends are, the worse Monday feels. But that could just be today, Monday. Today felt off, like cosmically. I don't know if it felt off for you, but it was a weird day.
How do you mean cosmically? Like, what'd you feel?
It's just like the vibes were off, which I've also decided vibes are just rebranded humors. And that's why we treat bad vibes with like essential oils, is because that's all they're good for.
Yeah. I guess today felt a little weird. I guess maybe I'm just assigning feelings to memories I didn't properly record. I don't know. I worked today.
No. Speaking of memories, I had a dream Saturday night that I stabbed someone repeatedly, and like I'm pretty sure it was in self-defense. Looking back on it, it wasn't self-defense, but it didn't feel like a grievous enough transgression to warrant stabbing. And like, dude even moved after I stabbed him repeatedly, so I just took the knife and just cleaved him into his rib cage. Like, I remember that gash specifically, but afterwards I'm like, now my Sunday's weird because I have a very vivid image of me stabbing someone and knowing what that feels like. And I don't know what that's about.
Well, I mean, it could be about so many things.
Yeah, no, I don't know what the whole dream interpretation is. I don't know how that works.
Maybe it's trying to tell you. Take it literally. Maybe you should go and stab someone. Hey.
You know?
Yeah.
That's way to mix up your work week, folks. Tip number 1, stab someone.
Do it on a Wednesday. It breaks up the monotony.
Yeah, the show does not endorse stabbing, except in self-defense. Do not use us as a court defense. A, we have no power and influence, and B, it will not help your case.
Probably do the opposite, really. Yeah, so this podcast with 0 subscribers said it was okay to stab people, so I figured it was based on the dream of the one on the left, and
it's right, yeah. It's really, the best crimes have been inspired by works of art. So honestly,
that's true.
Because like Natural Born Killers, there was a huge controversy when it came out because it supposedly inspired a spree killing because these two kids wanted to be like the couple in the movie. Helter Skelter, those murders were inspired by, I think, 2 Beatles songs, in fact. Because like Helter Skelter, that was what I knew it by. I had no idea it was a Beatles song. And then I heard the Beatles song and I'm like, this is about essentially like a fairground ride. And then, there's another song that allegedly Charles Manson used for his manifesto. But I wouldn't necessarily put anything by Manson and use it as, like, a credible thing.
Well, I mean,
he is Charles Manson.
Yeah. But that sort of thing's just going to happen with art. It doesn't...
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. The art can provoke... I mean, obviously, if it's going to provoke the best in people, it's certainly going to provoke the worst in people.
Yes.
And that's just always going to happen. That's the point, kind of, unfortunately. But also, that's the point.
Yeah.
Can't avoid it. You hear that movie, that French movie with the preteens is getting a lot of attention?
Yes. That is one that I did probably a complete 360 on, actually.
Okay.
Because when I first heard about it, I'm like, that's gross, because I saw the Netflix poster.
Mm-hmm.
And then people were like, actually, it's meant to be commentary. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But I didn't look into it any further. And then people started watching the film and making commentary on it. And I'm like, oh, it's even worse.
It was supposed to be commentary. That's what they were trying. They missed.
It's like... it's like I'd give you an A for effort, but I see how far you missed the mark. It's a thing where it's like you can't declare satire when your offensive joke doesn't land, and you can't declare commentary if people don't get it.
Yeah.
Because I think if you remove the filmmaker's intent and you just look at what's there, any other person would be arrested.
Yeah. The only parts I've seen were parts that were used in when Pay Money Wubby covered it a couple days ago, and just yikes, like that yikes, like just from a cinematography point of view, like just you don't need to take the camera and torpedo toward the 13-year-old's vagina. I'm going to be quoted out of context, but that's how pornography is filmed.
Yes.
That's what they teach you in pornography school. Yeah.
And Ready to Glare, hers was the first one that I watched, like, to actually talk about the movie, having seen it. And she pointed out something that I hadn't considered, is the fact that they aren't using adults to play 14-year-olds or 11-year-olds. They're using actual 11-year-olds.
Yes.
And it's like, the attention they're going to get is not good. And granted, sure, that attention exists regardless, and it's disgusting regardless, but the fact that the directors put them in that position is really irresponsible.
Well, first off, I think we can agree that the majority of the time, just objectively, child actors are bad.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you gave someone the script, not even considering like the moral implications of it, and you saw the cast required 11-year-olds, I don't know that you can find adults that look like 11-year-olds. I don't know that that's possible. But at the same time, But like you there was it's an 11-year-old and there's jiggle. That's you can't have that. You can't. And it's at this point it's like, no, you don't have to defend the director or the movie. It's fine. We can just quietly forget that this ever happened. Because like the target audience that would understand the message doesn't need to see the movie, and the people that do need to understand that message will not take that away from watching the movie. Yeah. Because the people who don't need to be told that movie are already too uncomfortable to watch it. Yeah. And the people who need that message, they're the only ones who are going to watch it. For the wrong reasons. I was considering watching it just to see how bad it was. But because I've seen a lot, I've run the gauntlet and I've survived. Like I've seen a lot. I think it's not so much the spectacle, but it's the missed intent, and how it's very hard at that point to believe that the original intent was that, and also the controversy that surrounds it. Usually, if you scream loud enough, a big company like Netflix will do something. I don't get why Netflix is standing up for this film.
Yeah. Especially since there have been a few politicians who are like, this, by choosing to distribute it and promote it, Netflix might be violating like both child labor laws and child exploitation laws. Yeah. I didn't think of that. So I guess it's like, is it worth promoting an art house film if you're going to get slapped by legal?
No, I didn't even think of like that side of it. I mean, I assume that the film was just in like disgustingly poor taste, but still like legal. But I guess as France, it's defined.
Yeah. Well, and in France, they probably have different laws for filming, but I think by choosing to promote it, like Netflix is technically a part of the process as a result because they're distributing it.
Yeah. Netflix is an American
so therefore
company.
They would have to, so therefore they'd have to sign off on the product, I guess.
Not a fan. That's just like, there's so much outcry for this film. There's so much hate directed at this film. It's like just take it down. It's not driving revenue. I imagine. Like
I wouldn't want it to.
Yeah.
Again, at this point, everyone knows. So the people who are watching it at this point are like people who do commentary. That's their job. And certain groups of people.
Well, yeah. But just like with art, I mean, you're always going to have that. That's just...
Right, yeah.
You're always going to have that.
Yeah.
I feel like there was another movie that came out recently that also had some backlash, but I can't remember if I'm just conflating it with this one, or am I just...
Well, I mean, every so often movies come out with controversy.
I'm just thinking if there was a recent one other than Cuties. I don't know. And the title.
Yeah, it doesn't so much
it doesn't sit right.
Yeah, because it's the kind of thing that like the people who would sexualize them would call them in an uncomfortable way.
You could have called it anything. Yeah. You called it Cuties. It's really ruined clementines for me, that's for sure.
I've seen a few people who are like, I just can't eat these anymore. Feels bad.
Who am I kidding? I'm gonna keep eating clementines. There's no amount of I have a problem.
Yeah.
They're so good when they come like at peak season. At peak season, you get all the easily peelable, super juicy, no pits. The best.
It's so good.
And
it's so nice because you can basically like open it and then just take the whole thing out. You don't even have to like peel it really.
Yeah. It's
perfect.
Oh God, they're so good. But not like they're not as good as, you know, Netflix removing the movie. and they're certainly it's okay. That's okay. Well, enough of that.
Yeah, no, that was not what I watched this past week. I watched Face the Music instead. It's way better. Less controversial.
Face the Music. The Bill and Ted one. Yeah, okay.
Music. Yeah.
How was it?
I really liked it. It was kind of everything I wanted. Not necessarily and more, but it was what I wanted it to be. Because I'm a sucker for, like, you know, the hero of a bygone era is now washed up and has to, like, figure out what he wants to do with his life. And so the fact that this movie delivered on that was great. Yeah. And it was weird seeing them, like, back in character. But it's also like seeing your teacher in a grocery store, but now you're an adult and you've like had similar milestones. So it's still weird, but it's not as weird as it was when you were a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see it. I have actually never seen a Bill and Ted film. I should.
I like them. I like what they do with time travel because there are so many time travel movies that are like, ooh, we can't do anything. We'll mess with the time stream. We're going to ruin the future. And in Bill and Ted, they're like, well, we're in this problem. Let's just skip forward to when we solved the problem and like set up everything for ourselves in the past. And it's like, that's
there you go.
How it should work. Yeah. And they do a good job of making them dumb, but they're not stupid. Like their vocabulary would pass an SAT test with flying colors. They're just not very bright.
When was the last episode? I guess it had to have been the 31st. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So then that means I've seen Tenet between then and now.
Oh yes. How was that?
Much more confusing time travel than Bill and Ted, I imagine.
I'm not surprised.
I'll have to like watch it like 6 more times. It was really good. For me it didn't dethrone Interstellar or Inception for my favorite Nolan film, but it was really good. And I hope that there's just, you know, miles of behind the scenes footage for how they did some of that stuff because it was really cool.
There's gotta be.
And just I saw it in IMAX. That was the whole reason why I went. If it wasn't in IMAX, I wouldn't have gone. But
yeah,
it was really great. But the problem was, and this is apparently a problem with a lot of Nolan films. This is the first one I've seen in theaters, except for maybe one of the Dark Knight films. The dialogue is hard to hear. There are a lot of complaints about the audio mixing and in Tenet. It makes it hard, like, to hear what they're saying. Which I guess because there isn't a whole lot of like there isn't a lot of like character in Tenet. It's really more about the mechanics of the world and how time inversion works and what like the implications of it. But still though, I really enjoyed it. It was so good.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, no, because I think for this one, this is where they got like an actual plane to crash.
Yes.
Because Nolan was like, it didn't look good on the computer. I'm just going to buy a plane and crash it.
That's, yeah.
But yeah, I think the dialogue thing, that was like a big thing when I watched Inception. Now, granted, I was just watching it on like a TV. Mm-hmm. But yeah, because they have like those really, distinct Hans Zimmer musical stings, mm-hmm. the dialogue is just very quiet. Yeah.
I pretty much have to watch Nolan films with headphones, which I guess helps with the experience. But like I don't know. It just I guess the most recent two that I watched were Dunkirk and Interstellar, and I didn't have a problem hearing what they were saying.
Oh yeah. That's right.
But though I watched those with headphones, so I don't know. I'm excited for Tenet to come out digitally because I need to rewatch it. Mm-hmm. I just need to rewatch it because it made sense as I was watching it, but I need to go back and make sure because it's very possible that I understood something very wrong.
That's how I felt about The Lighthouse. I got to the end of The Lighthouse and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know what happened. I'm gonna have to rewatch it to make sure though.
Yeah. The Lighthouse is trippy. I saw that a couple weeks ago. That was weird. I loved it. The acting was amazing, but it was a little strange. I really liked it.
Yeah, it feels very like 1950s horror movie-esque.
Yeah,
because it's uncomfortable, but it's not totally scary. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the ending of that is wild.
Yes,
I absolutely love it, and I really hope that Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe had a fun time filming it together.
Yeah,
because I want them to do more things together.
I agree. Yeah. Oh, what was I just saw like a very, very new movie. I'm thinking of ending things. Yeah.
The Charlie Kaufman.
Kaufman.
How is that?
Well, that was actually the first Charlie Kaufman film I've seen. I know I've seen Being John Malkovich, but this is the first one that he wrote and directed that I saw.
Oh, that's right. He did that one too, didn't he?
Yeah. But it's like it's really good. It's like once you get it, it's like, oh, okay, but everything just kind of flows in such a weird way, and I understand that to be like a hallmark of Charlie Kaufman, just being very surreal and just and that's it's worth a watch. It's 100% worth a watch. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, the thing that struck me about that is I saw a screen cap of Jesse Plemons in the movie. And he played Philip Seymour Hoffman's son in The Master, mm-hmm. but seeing him in that screen cap, he looks the world like Philip Seymour Hoffman now. Yes. And especially in that movie. That was wild.
Yeah, he really does.
Which I guess is kind of fitting given Philip Seymour Hoffman was in Synecdoche, New York, which I think is also a Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I need to watch some more of his stuff. Because I really liked it. I
don't think I've ever seen one, but I hear he comes up a lot because like Adaptation, I think, is one that he did.
Yeah.
And I hear about sometimes. And then, I see stuff about Being John Malkovich, and I never understood why, but I'm like, I'm cool with it. So yeah, I may need to dip my toes into the whole Charlie Kaufman scene. I used to be confused and thought he was related to Andy Kaufman. Which, given kind of their surreal, weird penchant for things,
I could see
it. But no, they just happen to have the same last name, I think.
Yeah, that's probably right. Oh. Yeah. What else have you been watching? This is fun.
Honestly, I haven't had time to watch a whole lot. I've got a stack of shows I need to go through. And I have a stack of recommendations now to get through, and I kept hoping that like September would be the month I could do that, and I think this week I actually have time. But like my brother lent me One Punch Man, so I'm trying to watch that, but then he also started Hunter x Hunter, and there were a couple characters there that are cool in Mob Psycho 100. But then I also wanted to watch Amelie, because that was one that came out years ago. It looks super good, and I just never got around to watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, what else am I hoping to watch up and coming? Yeah, there's just a handful. Some of it is rewatching things. But I will say I have a backlog that I'm going to watch with my sister when I go and see her in October. Because she actually has the rest of the Beatles films. I've only seen A Hard Day's Night.
Mm-hmm.
And like that one like makes sense. It is structured, there's plot, there's like cool filmmaking. Help is like just a fun movie. The director knew he couldn't get anything done after lunch because the boys would be high. Then we get to like Magical Mystery Tour, and it's just Paul calling the shots, and it's a mess. And just that concept in general, where they're playing themselves, and even just like versions of themselves, it's such a wild concept. I'm fascinated by the art of like celebrities playing themselves, celebrity cameos, how they choose to go about doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's fascinating. Because like Dave Grohl is in Bill and Ted Face the Music. He's in it for like 2 minutes, but it's a great cameo. And like Alice Cooper's cameo in Wayne's World is one of my favorites. But yeah, no, lately I don't even think I've been watching that much YouTube because I just have not had time, which is rare. I usually make time for stuff like that. I did rewatch Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, because that was like one of my favorites when I was like 11, 12. And then in retrospect, it's like, you let a 15-year-old go to New York, go to a concert venue with another 15-year-old.
I mean,
bad parenting.
Well, it's better than letting your 11-year-old twerk on film. All right.
True.
Enough of that. I said enough. I mean enough.
No, but I am reading The Yiddish Policeman's Union, which was a film that the rights were in the hands of the Coen brothers. They were going to do the film adaptation. And I have never been so upset that rights lapsed, because it just didn't come together. And so they just let it go. And it's like, I've never read a book more tailor-made for them, because it's like a murder mystery in this, but it's kind of noir-ish, and it's set in this colony in Alaska that like it's alternate history-ish, because after World War II they basically set up colonies for Jewish immigrants in Alaska, and there's just like a cavalcade of really interesting characters, and it's like I'm so upset because it would have been exactly in their wheelhouse, but it just I guess they can try again with the Safdies, because
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Awards, I don't know. It just seems like, and I'm only like I'm only aware of like the big ones, like the Oscars and the Tonys and the other useless ones. It just, it's nice to see good films win.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. It's like but I don't believe that's how they're picked. I find it very hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, I also feel like we have to like it the whole concept of those kinds of things, they have to be like divorced from the notion of popularity contests.
Yes. It's one of those things where it should be done on merit. It's probably done on campaigning. And in certain categories, it almost doesn't matter, because like for best animated movie, sometimes the voters don't even care, or it's whatever their kids saw last.
That's kind of horrifying.
And there's like,
it's not great.
Yeah. And there's like, well, because when Weinstein was still in power, a lot of his films won because of him. He would campaign his films, and that's why like when Shakespeare in Love won, people were confused and outraged, because they're like, really this no. And the same thing happened with Chicago. But yeah, and I think there's a measure of it that we all kind of suspend disbelief that that's how it works, so that we can still celebrate when films like Parasite win. So
I was really afraid that Parasite wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
There were a couple good contenders, but oh.
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of the rare instances where I remember that one really well. But if you asked me to name any of the other Best Picture nominees, I would have a really hard time doing it.
Yes. Yeah, like what won the year before? What won in 2018?
Shape of Water?
That sounds right.
Was that year? It was either that year or the year before, but I think it was 2018 because Shape of Water came out in 2017.
Okay, then yeah. I don't know.
Yes.
I think you're right. Parasite's a memorable one.
Mm-hmm.
And it won so much. I mean, deservedly so, because it was.
Yes.
It takes a lot to surprise audiences, and it was such a unique story. At least something that I don't think we've seen in the States, and that was like. It was just really compelling because you had no idea where it was going. Absolutely no clue.
Yes. It's my favorite way to watch it, now that I've seen it, is to watch it with people who haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And so after I had seen it, I went with a bunch of friends, and it was like we were having an Oscar party, and we were going to watch it like the day before the Oscars. And so I got to I couldn't be obvious about looking over at people, but when things would happen, I would glance over and see what other people were thinking.
Yeah.
Because it's so satisfying. And I sent it to my brother, and so he texted me periodically. So he's like, oh shoot, it's like a family of Dio Brandos. Wow, they've taken over the whole house. And then when the big reveal happens, and that was it. And it's like, yeah. Because I had a friend over and she asked, is it scary? And I'm like, I can't answer that because that gives it away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I
know I was...
Good.
Or go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was expecting, as it was building towards the big reveal, I was terrified that there was going to be some sort of bug monster in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh, Parasite isn't going to be... Because another one of his films... That is the case, is there are actual monsters in it, and I don't know which would have made me more uncomfortable, honestly.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad that there wasn't really anything supernatural in that.
Yes,
I think that would have completely ruined it.
Yeah, I think it would have muddied what it was going for.
So yeah, And like what you were saying earlier about the whole, you like seeing people react to the movie for the first time. I like doing that with Old Boy because, which I guess is also a South Korean film, but I mean, I'm one of the few people who also like the Spike Lee version. It's just so there's just something so gratifying, just watching people freak out once it's revealed, and it's just like, oh God. Why does this film exist? And I'm just like, oh, yes. It's beautiful because it took me for a loop the first time I saw it as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know there's a twist. I just can't figure out what it's going to be. And then you see it, it's like that was a pretty good twist. It's obvious now, but whoa.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to think of films that threw me through a loop that way, because Psycho's one that I still cherish. I cherish the memory of all of those pieces falling together.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of other twisty films, even ones that I've seen this year. Sometimes it got spoiled. The ending of Uncut Gems got spoiled for me when I wasn't sure if I cared, and then I realized I did care.
Sure.
Which was upsetting.
For some reason, Inside Out is sticking out in my head. Inside Out, I knew it was going to resolve as a happy ending, but how they did it, the path they took to get there, was very, very good. And that I think it didn't so much throw me through a loop, but it surprised me how creative that story was.
Sure. Yeah. I liked that one.
Yeah.
I think it was definitely a bright spot in some of the more paint by numbers Pixar films, like, they're still good. It's just,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's some of them cars that just, the Gone Girl is another one. That one threw me for a loop. That one was amazing. That movie was so good it made me read the book. That's how good that movie was.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's David Fincher, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. But just
his are supposed to be really good.
Mm-hmm. But like I had never seen like the discontent Midwestern housewife trope before, I guess. It's
one of my favorites.
Well, it's a great trope, but I don't think I'd ever seen it so like pushed to the point of like she staged her own murder. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. And the fact that she almost got away with it. She would have gotten away with it. She would have gotten away with it if she didn't go back. So,
yeah.
Such a good movie. I saw that one in theaters. It wasn't IMAX, but I saw that one in theaters. Very good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch another one of Gillian Flynn's stories. Sharp Objects, I think, is a 6-part miniseries.
Yeah.
I hear that's really good too. So.
Yeah, I want to say Girl on the Train is another one, just because I can picture the book covers, and I think the book covers look similar. I could be wrong.
I don't remember that one. I remember Dark Places.
Oh no, it's based on a book by Paula Hawkins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just know the 3: Gone Girl, Dark Places, and Sharp Objects.
I feel like Dark Places is getting an adaptation because I feel like I've seen production stills.
I think you're right because that does sound familiar.
Yeah, because Sharp Objects I know has Amy Adams and oh goodness, her last name I think is Richardson. I can picture her. I want to say she played Ron Swanson's first ex-wife.
That doesn't help. I haven't seen... Parks and Rec's also on the list. Was it Sharp Objects miniseries? The answer is...
I can, see her name. The letters just aren't falling into place.
Eliza Scanlon?
No.
Patricia Clarkson.
Yes, Patricia Clarkson. That's who it is. No Richardson at all. It's a different white male name followed by some.
Yeah, there's no Richardson in here at all. Good try though. So, yeah, no, I've been meaning to watch that because that looks really good as well, and I've heard good things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Amy Adams a lot.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
She was good in. That's another film. I guess I wasn't expecting the twist to, or like the premise. Arrival with Amy Adams.
Yes, I've heard really good things about that one too.
Oh, it is so good. It is so good. I love it.
Nice. Yeah. There are so many movies that come out, and they usually come out normally about this time. But I guess a couple months later. It's normally November that all of them come out. But
yeah.
Not this year.
Not this year.
I forget what they're doing for Oscars. I forget if they're pushing out the deadline or if we're just straight up gonna have Birds of Prey and Sonic the Hedgehog as nominees for Best Picture, which honestly, let's.
I mean, people say it's an honor to be nominated, which means it means something.
Exactly.
So, Sonic the Hedgehog? I don't know. There were some pretty good performances in that. Jim Carrey nailed the villain. I'm
willing to give him a Best Supporting Actor nomination because he's probably been nominated in the past for something. I just can't think of what it would have been.
The Truman Show, probably.
Because there are a handful of... Probably that, yeah. If not that, Eternal Sunshine, but I don't think that gained enough traction to actually make it to that point.
Oh, that's a Kaufman film too, isn't it?
Is it?
Is it? Oh, God.
Now that you've said the names in conjunction, that sounds correct. Oh, Michael Gondry. But he wrote the screenplay.
He wrote it. Okay, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Kate Winslet got nominated for that. I don't think Jim did.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. I've been told that I would like it, because I'm a sucker for things that don't have happy endings, and I feel like that one won't. So
yeah,
it's on the lengthy list.
Yeah, I like conceptual things like that, where it's like, here's a big idea, we're just gonna roll with it. And things that are like reality adjacent, where it's not necessarily supernatural or magic, but there's just something slightly off. I love things like that. Most of what I write, like dark comedy wise, I try to set in an adjacent world.
Well, that way you can play around with, like, I guess the physics of it, like not the the actual physics of it, but like the mechanics of how the world works, so that it's just like you can suspend disbelief that much, right? Most of the world is correct, and it's not like you're going into it, because sci-fi, I love science fiction, but world building to that degree is it's a lot. It's a lot because you don't understand everything about the world, so you can't really connect to it as much as you can connect to something that's based in the real world or real world adjacent. So, but yeah, and so when you find like a sci-fi film that you like connect to and you like relate to in a meaningful way, that's pretty good. That's pretty good sci-fi film. I'm racking my brain for examples, and I cannot think of
Honestly,
one.
the first one that's coming to mind is Sorry to Bother You, but I don't even think that's technically science fiction. It's kind of that weird reality adjacent thing.
Yeah. I can't.
I guess films like Her, but that's
also,
I haven't seen Her. So that takes place. To it.
That takes place in the real world mostly.
So you mean like full on?
I mean like full on, like Alien versus Predator. They're on a spaceship, maybe.
Yeah.
And I can't, because it's so foreign, and I guess that's the point. It's right. Movies that transport you are, I believe, make it inherently harder for you to relate to. Not that that's a bad thing. But
it's like the whole experience.
Yes. And what's really interesting is that, thinking about Tenet now in that light, Tenet takes place in the real world. The only mechanic they introduced is time inversion. But you don't connect to it because it's so foreign.
Yeah.
Right? So that doesn't have to be literally out of this world. It just has to be crazy enough. And that line is very blurry, because the other movie that came to mind was Atlantis. And that takes place in the 1920s, and they have that big beautiful submarine. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. But I can suspend my disbelief, A, because it's a cartoon, and B, I mean, maybe it was all steam powered, so I mean, yeah, it could be. Yeah. So it's a very blurry line, I would say.
Yeah, and I think animation's a good point. For some reason, people just don't want to do it.
Do what?
Because they think it's juvenile to do animation where it's but the possibilities are so much greater.
Yes. Well, it's also very expensive.
Yes, tremendously so. But I think it helps more with building that empathy, because you could design the characters to be more empathetic. We can relate more to them. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just. It's really incredible how different. Just speaking of animated films, how you can relate to some animated films, and just be completely detached from others. I'm thinking something like Inside Out or Coco, or what's another, Up, right? They make you feel something. And then you have on the other end of the spectrum, other technically competent films like Minions or Sing, which I don't know if you remember. How could you forget the marketing campaign for Sing? How much money do you think they spent marketing that damn movie?
They had to make their money back because the cast is ridiculous.
Yeah, but like, it's just I ads for that stupid movie with that pig everywhere, everywhere. It was crazy. You see it in places you don't even expect to see ads for things like that. It's just they must have dumped a lot of money into that marketing campaign. But movies like that, they're not meant to like make you feel anything. But does that make them worse films?
I don't know, cause I saw Sing, and for what it was worth, I had a fun time watching it. Could be that the soundtrack was good. And some of the performances were good. Like, Taron Egerton does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I like John C. Reilly's performance in it, too.
He's always good.
Yeah. And that was kind of Illumination's whole shtick, is it's like, we could animate this for super cheap because we're going to reuse a ton of this. So you can pay whatever else you want for casting, marketing, whatever. It'll make its money back.
Mm-hmm.
And then some.
Yeah. Secret Life of Pets was stacked as well, wasn't it?
It was, yes. And then had to be recast for the sequel because someone was in the first one who got in trouble between the first and second one.
Who?
Louis C.K.
Louis was a voice?
Yeah, in the first one.
Are you sure?
I'm 92% sure.
Secret Life of... This is going to blow my mind. And who did they recast him?
That is a good question. I don't know who they replaced him with.
Kevin Hart, Jenny Slate, Eric Stonestreet, Lake Bell, Louis C.K. Holy crap.
Yeah.
And Hannibal Buress, Bobby Moynihan. This is stacked. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people I don't know. Okay, Secret Life of Pets 2. Who'd they replace him with? Speaking of replacing people, after seeing Knives Out, I think they should have replaced Kevin Spacey with Daniel Craig in House of Cards.
Oh, yes. That would have been good. Yeah. I'm always fascinated with how movies or shows choose to get rid of characters or replace them.
Patton Oswalt.
Okay.
They don't sound similar.
The kids won't notice. The kids don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Louis C.K.'s coming back. Not like at all what he was, but he is slowly inching his way back.
Yes.
I watched his most recent stand-up special, Sincerely Louis C.K., and he opens with so how was your 2018, 2019? Did anyone else get into global amounts of trouble?
No.
That's, yeah. Well, I mean, people have, but, not like...
But, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think the show Louis is one of the better written shows in existence.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, it's very good. I think it came out in I think it ended in.
It was like 2013, 2014, wasn't it?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, it was.
I'm trying to think back to like how old I would have been when I would have seen the ads on FX.
And
what I would have been watching on FX at the time.
Yeah. And it was certainly better than so he had a show before that called Lucky Louie, which was it was an HBO sitcom, which was okay. It was well written. It wasn't nearly as good because it wasn't like as I'll sound like a pretentious prick here, but it wasn't as artistic, and it was just a multi-camera thing. And then after that, he did a show that he just released on his website for like $5 an episode or something, maybe less, $3 an episode, called Horace and Pete, which is not funny. It is horribly depressing.
Oh.
Horace and Pete is so depressing. It is rough. But it has Alan Alda in it and Steve Buscemi and Eddie Falco.
Wow.
They are all so good. They are such good actors. They are such amazing actors. And also Angus T. Jones has a cameo, or not a cameo, but he is in the last 5 minutes of the series.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't recognize him, but that's him. Oh, yeah. A.D. Bryant's in it too, but only briefly.
Okay, wow. Then that would have been, I guess it would have been about the same time as her start on SNL.
A little bit after, I think. Horace and Pete was like a 2016, 2017 release.
Oh, then way after. Yeah,
but he only released it on his website. And it was, I mean, it's also a good show. It's no Louis, but it's still a good show. And then when everything started to, like, you know, come down on him, he was working on I Love You, Daddy, which is almost as poorly named as Cuties, but like it. Yeah,
it's like, can't market that now, buddy.
Yeah, right. Like I think I found a copy of it. I haven't watched it yet because I don't want to like think of John Malkovich in some other way, because I love John Malkovich, so it's like, well, he's the creepy guy in this one, and Louis C.K. wrote it, and he doesn't like hold back. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I like John Malkovich a little too much, and also I think I only found like a leaked copy, so it's really low res. So is it worth the time? I don't know.
It's hard to say. Has anything like truly been ruined for you? Like once you know the truth about something, you just can't go back?
I have a pretty high tolerance. I can't think of any examples. I mean, for
me, it's...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we already knew I was a terrible person, but it's like, I don't know if anything has been ruined. I think maybe the only things I can think of that were ruined after I learned something about them was like something I was eating, and then someone told me that it had nuts in it, and then I just hated it because I could taste them now.
Sure.
So
yeah, I think... Yeah. And I go back and forth. Sometimes I find something out and then I just choose not to really progress into a certain director's work, for example. Like, I know way too much about Roman Polanski to the point where I'm like, it doesn't matter what you contributed to art. Yeah. I will not watch your films.
Yeah.
And Woody Allen's the same way. And I think the only Woody Allen film I had seen was like Midnight in Paris. Mm-hmm. But yeah, once I found out, I'm like, no, I don't care what you contributed. I don't know. And then some cases it's like, I'm gonna watch it, but like uncomfortably. Like, I still really like Bug's Life. That's probably one of my favorite Pixar films. I still really like Baby Driver. It's just like, we're just gonna...
What's wrong with Bug's Life?
Kevin Spacey's in it.
Well, I mean, okay. I believe you.
Yeah.
I should have believed you when you said Louis C.K. was in Secret Life of Pets. All right. Cool. Yeah.
But then at the same time, I think there's a measure of hypocrisy. I don't know if I'm trying to work through, if I'm just trying to be like, it is what it is. Because I went into the Beatles knowing full well what kind of person John Lennon was. And of course, I've read like all the deep apologists and the deep detractors. And that's like, whatever. Part of it is just, he's been dead for 40 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It does, but it doesn't. And so it's just, I don't know if I'm trying to maintain consistency or if I just choose not to weigh in on those conversations in general anymore. Because I'm sure everyone has like, yeah, I still listen to this person. I understand what they've done. What can be done?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're going to like what you like.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you still like Baby Driver. Maybe you like the first 5 seasons of House of Cards. Maybe you like who else is screwed up? There's one that I think is ruined. I used to be a real big fan of Bill Cosby's comedy. Oh,
yeah, he's a big one.
Yeah, and like, you know, the chocolate cake routine, and the reverse mohawk routine. Those were those were staples. And now I'll listen to it and be like,
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I think part of it for me, I guess, is what did they do when they were called out? Did they change? Or did they keep doing it? And for me, it matters more if people are talking about it like it's a problem and not just like, let me dig very deeply through your history just to like find the hidden sins so I look like a good guy.
Yeah.
I think that's where the grand discourse on cancel culture has gone amiss, is it's like, why are we talking about this specific issue?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just to make you look like a moral arbiter, or is it because this is something we do actually need to talk about?
People are so paranoid and worried about being on the wrong side of history that they will go out of their way to maybe even say things they don't fully believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And like go out of their way to be on what they perceive to be the right side of history.
Yes.
So like it's kind of alarming in a way, right? Like thinking of, I'm trying to think of someone who was canceled or almost canceled because of like stuff they said long ago, back when it was cool. James Gunn comes to mind, but I forget the joke that he made on his Twitter like 10 years ago.
It involved it involved the thing that cuties try to make a commentary about. Because I did think it involved like, pedophilia and stuff.
Yeah.
And if we have to blur out that word, so be it.
What is this going to do? Get demonetized? Let's get monetized first, Lauren.
We have sponsors. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure the sponsors will be fine with it. That's like things that came out of color, and then you go back in time and find. I'm like, people who are comedians who are paid to come up with shocking stuff like this, designed to elicit a reaction. That's why people like them. And then you're going to go back like 10 years through their Twitter history, which is a lot of scrolling, by the way. Twitter doesn't make that easy.
Yeah. You have to like Control F.
Yeah, that's effort, and it doesn't load the whole tweet list. It's an endless scroll, so you can't just So people have too much time is the punchline to that joke. But it's amazing. Like, you find something, and then you attack them for that. But back then it was fine, right? Back then it wasn't as problematic to say things like that. I'm trying to think of an example. I
think it's one of those things where it depends on what the character shows in addition to that, because when the whole like Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star debacle was coming to a crashing conclusion, people dug up like Shane's old jokes, and so he had to apologize for them again. But they also pointed out that the content he was putting in his sketches fell in line with some of the things he said, and there weren't punchlines. It was just there. And so I think Anthony Jeselnik, it's not connected in any way, but Anthony Jeselnik is known for making very off-color jokes.
Yes.
But he's like, the thing about it, because I can't even remember who it was that was getting canceled, that they even asked Anthony Jeselnik to weigh in. He's like, the difference between me and them is I don't actually do that, and we all recognize this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of like amateur comedians miss the mark. Is the persona of a person on stage is not who they are.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to be your stand-up person all the time. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty common. But yeah, I don't know. It's amazing that people can like. Shane Dawson did blackface, right? Okay. What else did he do?
Oh yeah, liberal use of the N-word by non-black parties, including his own mother. some simulated sex acts involving children, supposedly family even. There's a really good video from D'Angelo Wallace, and he walks through all of the content going all the way back.
Did he ever do all 3 at once?
It's possible. I don't know.
Because that would be impressive almost. Like, you're going to piss everyone off because no one likes that. Like,
what's fascinating is that his keeps coming up, but now that like someone like Filthy Frank has transitioned to music and people are discovering him as Filthy Frank and not vice versa, the same thing isn't happening.
Yeah.
Or like it tried. Like there were some poor kids who tried to cancel Filthy Frank and people were like,
you can't do that.
You're new here.
Yeah. You can't do that. He's uncancelable.
But I think there's like a measure of something, I don't even know what, that when I watch Filthy Frank, I am able to understand that like this is different than Shane Dawson's content.
Yes. It's, it's Pimp My Wheelchair versus a guy in blackface screaming the hard R while there's a twerking 11-year-old in the corner. Like that's,
Yeah.
There's difference. There's a difference. There's a tasteable difference. So
yeah, and I still go back and watch like the Gentleman Games.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I love that one.
They're so good. They're so good. I still have trouble making it through Hair Cake.
I have heard about that one. I have still not brought myself to watch it because I know what it is.
It is, yeah. It is I mean, you should watch it. You should try. No promises if you're going to make it to the end.
That's
because when you see it, you feel it.
Oh, I hate stuff like that.
You
that's why.
Yeah. You've eaten hair before on accident, like a hair. Like it falls into your food, and then you taste it. It's like, oh crap.
Oh yeah, no, that I've done.
Okay, well now just take your hair and then just.
No.
Yeah, well.
No, I'm not surprised because it's him, but it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know that stuff has killer rewatchability. All of that stuff just has killer rewatchability, and what's interesting is that you see some of the people trying to build up that same kind of dynamic again. Like I see I know iDubbbz is trying to like do stuff with William Osman and Nile Red, Commentikit, who is probably top 3 channels in my opinion. Internet comment etiquette. Oh, beautiful. What amazing. Anyway, but I just seeing like another group of people who just like, push that, not push the edge or the envelope, but like don't care. They just don't care. They're just going to do the funny thing, and that's pretty good. I
really liked I think it's their roadkill cleaning service.
Oh yeah, the roadkill cleaning.
That one was good. Yeah. Now I've seen a few of William Osman's stuff. I kind of like it. He did one that was like a Roomba competition. He brought a bunch of people together and he gave them all Roombas, and that was
a good one.
That was pretty great.
Yeah.
But through William Osman, I found Michael Reeves.
Yep.
I really like Michael Reeves.
Oh yeah. I don't know how he's going to top Surgery Robot. Like his last 2 videos were good, but they weren't surgery robots. That one was perfect. Yeah. That was a work of art.
That was so good. It's the kind of thing that like makes me wish I had been more dedicated in like the hands-on aspect of my education. Just to be able to do things like that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Well, it's never too late to learn. He didn't go to college.
Yeah.
Just pick it up on an Arduino and learn it. I mean, all the popular makers are using Raspberry Pis. Just do it. You can do it. I believe in you.
I do also really like his energy drink robot and the race detecting Elmo.
Oh, Trigger Me Elmo. Trigger Me Elmo was really good.
And the headhunting drones.
Oh, yeah.
That one was good. He was on this big contest. Call Me Carson had like a huge game show, and Michael Reeves was invited to the game show. And it was just like a bunch of random things on a wheel, and Carson spun the wheel, and I forget what it landed on, but the goal was for Michael to go and tase either his girlfriend or someone else, maybe Pokimane. And within 2 seconds, Michael had ditched his headphones, grabbed his taser, and run out of his room. And in one of the other people's cameras, you just saw his like headless form emerge with a taser. And his girlfriend was like, "Yeah, I locked my door so fast."
He's that's Michael Reeves. That's
Yeah.
Because I'm picturing what it would look like.
Yeah.
Just him grabbing a taser and running out of the room, and everyone panicking to lock their doors. From the little goblin's going to come and shock you. It's
yeah. Goodness.
Michael Reeves, also probably top 3 or 5. I don't know. It's tricky.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking of a lot of them.
It depends on what I'm going for and what I want. And sometimes it comes down to, well, who do I actually watch first? Because I'll dump a bunch of videos on my watch later and I'll organize them by time. But it's like, but who do I go out of order for?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And that varies all the time.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. I get that. And yeah, I would definitely go out of order for a Michael Reeves internet comment etiquette. iDubbbz if it's not a bad unboxing.
Yeah. It's fascinating which ones have developed like video dropping power, like who can just drop something with little to no promotion and it just like spikes within minutes.
Yeah.
And I think Content Cop was that way.
Content Cop, he's going to do another one, and I can't imagine who it's going to be on, but it's going to get a lot of attention.
Oh yeah.
That's just because it's what it is. Once he started eviscerating big players like Keemstar and Tana Mongu and
yeah, I still go back and watch the Rice Gum.
Rice Gum, that's it. Yeah, Rice Gum. Asian Jake Paul.
That one's so good.
That one's brutal. That one's brutal.
Sometimes I'll go and listen to just the rap itself. Because it's so well done.
Mm-hmm. It is a beautiful work of art.
It is. Goodness.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe someday we'll have 3-digit subscribers.
Yes.
That's the goal.
That's what we're shooting for. I had a video cross 150 views, and it was the wildest thing.
Hot damn. Which one?
Yeah, the Abby Shapiro one.
There you go.
Yeah, because
exhilarating.
Yeah. Well, and it's like a reaction to someone who's relevant, and I dropped it as bigger channels were talking about it. So I think I just like caught other people, which that's how it's done.
Mm-hmm. No, that's exactly how it's done. Back a year ago, I guess, August of 19, I did the unauthorized music video of Monday at the Beach, and that was just a track that was released. And then No Dream came out in May, and you can see on the view chart the slope increase. And it's nice. That's pretty good.
I have that saved on like my favorite music videos playlist because it makes me happy. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's about to get passed. It's about to get passed by Come On and Zoom. I don't know how people are still finding that. People are organically searching for that kind of thing.
That's really cool, though. You pick, like, really... Like, the titles are good and the thumbnails are good. And And then it's just like, they're concepts that I have to see play out, like the whole Pop-Tart ravioli thing. That was wild.
That one was embarrassing. I need a pasta roller. It was I tried for so long to roll that pasta out, and it would not get any thinner than that. Ugh. It was so disappointing to my mouth feels, but and I got a lot, like, you know, pasta isn't bread. That was a common rebuttal to the argument, which is stupid. And you can't boil a Pop-Tart, which of course you can.
There's nothing that prevents you.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't, because it'll dissolve. You can toast ravioli, so shut up. And then pasta isn't bread. Well, neither are Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts I would consider to be more pastry, or maybe closer to a cookie, which ingredient ratio wise is much closer to pasta, right? It's not pasta, I'll give you that, but it's so close. The lines become blurry at that point.
Yeah.
So that's my defense of it. You can attack it all you want. I don't care.
But yeah, like your the Halloween puppy video. I love that one.
Oh.
And
I have such a stupid high bar for what needs to like what crossed the bar for. I should make a video about this. And Pop-Tart ravioli almost didn't make it. I wanted to fill the gap between the last video and the next video, so I just like, you know what, let's just do it, and it turned out all right. But it just I'm way too selective with my videos. I do have to say though, you need to make a sequel to the Billionaires Club.
I do. I've got an idea in mind. I just haven't sat down to do it.
Yeah, you got it.
I don't know if it would be a sequel necessarily, but I do. I have ideas for it. But I need a lighter, because the matches I have don't work anymore. So
spoilers, Lauren.
mild spoilers, yeah. But yeah, I also have a video for our, I've got a handful of like non-review things I want to do. Reviews just literally keep me in practice using the software, and sure. that I think would be the one piece of advice I would give to people who want to do it, is find something you can do consistently that will get you in and using whatever software you have.
Yes. That
way when you have something bigger, you're not practicing with those.
Yeah. And it's also good to be consistent, because the algorithm favors consistency.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's certainly something I've been battling with. But it just seems like, I don't know. I wish I had the kind of posting frequency that you and a lot of other successful YouTubers have. It's just you know, I just don't, you know, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I don't care that nobody sees it. I just it's fun because I get to practice, because the stuff I really want to do, like short films, I can't do. So I do this instead, and I try to put all the production quality of a short film into stupid making pizza cake stuff, right? Like
yeah.
So it's no, you're absolutely right. It's definitely, it's practice. It's practice. And I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I sometimes when I'm just like laying in bed, I'll go back and watch like my early things before I started using like my phone, and I was using a camera literally from 2008. Yeah. And I'm like, goodness.
Yeah. It's just a whole lot of fun, and I love video editing too. So it's like double fun.
Yeah. I love cutting things and framing things. I like chopping the frame up to zoom in more.
Yeah.
Which I know technically should be done with manual zoom, but
who cares?
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah. No. But yeah. I don't know. Have we reached the bottom of the pile?
I think so. Should we hear a word from our sponsor?
Oh, yes. I didn't even ask if we had a sponsor. sponsor.
Oh, of course we do.
At the bottom of the pile, we found our sponsor.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, do you like you like reading? You were talking about reading earlier.
Yes, I do.
Well, that's has little to no bearing on this sponsor. I don't know why I brought it up. This episode of Steamy Pile is sponsored by Audible, not the online book reading e-book audio book thing. Instead, it's a life coaching service. So you can call an Audible and get a divorce. You can let your 11-year-old child twerk on film. Hope you have money for child support payments. You can stab people because you had a dream about it. That's an Audible. You could call an Audible on that. Yeah. Just shake it up a little bit. They don't. They don't take insurance. But they do take off 10% on the first consultation if you sign up in the next 24 hours, which is unfortunate because it'll probably be like 5 weeks until this episode gets released. So, I mean, they run specials all the time. They're desperate. No one wants to use Audible.
They'll come back.
They always do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Audible. That's all we need.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. No, they support the content. That's morally they support the content, and that's what matters.
Warms my heart.
Yes.
But yes.
Every time.
But now I think we're at the bottom of the pile.
That is the bottom of the pile. We reached concrete bedrock. Bottom of the pile. Yes. Thank you all so much for listening. This has been another episode of Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I've been Lauren.
And I have been Tucker.
And we will see you next time.